Hey, what's up ladies and gentle-tubers? My name is eveRide, and today I'll be answering a question that I get asked almost every day. In the past, I've done a lot of basic tip videos, but I always get comments and questions about one of the most critical fundamentals of dual sport and adventure riding: how to ride standing up. Well, we're going to talk all about that with some beginner riding tips and exercises that will really up your adventure riding game, so stay tuned. To the street rider who's converting to dirt riding, standing while riding is going to feel completely weird. Suddenly the handlebar controls are really low and the foot controls seem to be totally out of reach, and it feels like the slightest bump would send you right over the bars while standing up. Some people have asked what the benefits are besides looking really cool in pictures, and some have inquired how to do it without getting fatigued, and I'll answer both of these questions. First and foremost, dual sport seats are notoriously uncomfortable, and it's good to get your butt off of that thing for a while and get some blood flow to your legs. But other than comfort to your glutes, there are many reasons as to why standing while riding is almost imperative to your riding safety, comfort, and ability to progress in the future. Standing on the foot pegs will put your weight low on the pegs. Even though your center of gravity is a little bit higher, you can use your whole body to balance. Also, your legs act as suspension for your back and the rest of your body. Jumps, bumps, and whoops are actually doable if you stand up. It automatically puts your body into the athletic or the attack position. Body weight can be shifted to where you need it for turning, climbing, descending, etc. And it's like traction control for the bike. If you need grip for turning, you can put your weight forward, or if you need traction, you can shift your weight back over the back tire, and you can quickly switch between the two. Your knees can absorb bumps instead of your back or your core, and when going over gnarly rocks or bumpy terrain, you can rely more on balance than inertia to keep you going. And you'd never attempt a drop-off while sitting unless you basically wanted to wreck your back. Now, I've only been at this for a few years, and I found that switching to riding while standing provided significant relief to my shoulders and back and my neck from the weight of the helmet. It also gave me a slightly tighter turning radius in the dirt, and it allows me to compress the forks to do all kinds of cool things like power wheelies. It seems nearly impossible for somebody to be able to compress their forks while staying seated. So now for some tips to help you learn how to stand up on your bike. When standing up, lean forward like your motorcycle's a Segway. Now, I've never been on a Segway, but they seem kind of goofy, right? Well, I think it's gonna feel goofy before it feels cool. Bend your knees a little bit. Think of the athletic or aggressive or at the ready stance. And stay over the saddle of your seat during whoops or jumps or bumps, probably more than what you're used to. I always had a tendency to lean back over whoops and jumps, and more often than not, the rear suspension would flick up and hit me right in the butt. If it hits you too hard, whether you're sitting or standing, it could launch you up over your bars. Now, leaning forward over the bars might make you feel like you're going to endo over the bars while you're standing if you hit the slightest bump. Now, it's more likely that if you endo, you're hitting something that would make you endo regardless of where your weight is at, or even if you were sitting or standing. Now, when standing up and riding, it shouldn't feel like you're holding on to the bars or pulling back on them. If it feels tiring at all, then you need to move your weight forward. And hands should be relaxed on the bars and controls, not holding on for dear life. If you feel like it's pulling you, or if you feel like your shoulders are being jerked out of their sockets, then you need to put your weight forward. You're not meant to be that far back on the motorcycle. Something that helped me was to ride with boots with very stiff soles. I went with motocross boots, and I would suggest those because it's best to get used to the safest option. The stiffer the sole, the less fatigue your foot will feel. Shifting and braking and feathering the clutch will all feel really weird when standing. So you can actually just take a screwdriver and position your levers so it feels right to you, then practice until it starts to feel natural. Now, on dual sport bikes, you're going to want kind of a neutral position so that it's not awkward when you're sitting down, and so that it's not awkward when you're standing up. You want to be comfortable in both positions. When you're getting the hang of standing up while riding, try different obstacles like hill climbs and descents, whoops, sand, cruising while sitting and then while standing. Practice shifting, turning, and braking on a nice flat surface. Grip your tank with your knees. You can actually steer your bike with your knees this way.
Yeah.
Practice leaning way forward so it almost feels weird. Notice how there is almost no effort to hold the bars when you're very far forward on the bike. Chances are leaning really far forward is about where you need to be. You'll know for yourself, just do what feels comfortable, but again, if you feel any kind of stress on your arms, you need to get the weight forward. This is something totally different, but try to get used to using only 1 or 2 fingers to brake and shift. Neither the shift lever nor the brake lever has to be fully engaged to work. Most times, the clutch will be fully disengaged when you pull in the clutch lever just to the knuckles on the outside fingers. And practice bouncing on the foot pegs to compress the suspension. This is the key point of standing up, and can later turn into standing power wheelies, seat bumps, and really good setups for controlled jumps. It's also great for de-weighting over ruts and obstacles, and also try riding with 1 foot off the pegs and see what that does to your steering, your balance, and your control. So you guys, I really hope these tips will help you to develop your riding skills and set you up for success in the future. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave a comment below. I'm always happy to respond to those, and those comments are usually where I get my ideas for future videos. So if you found these tips helpful and you'd like more of them, please go ahead and hit that big subscribe button. And if you're not quite convinced that you should subscribe, go ahead and click that video to check out my channel, where you can find tons of adventure riding tips, advice on how to get the best deals, see some amazing adventures, and much more. So remember, practice makes perfect. Get out there, ride as much as you can, get used to it, and you'll be doing awesome things in no time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Much love. eveRide out.